Hello friends, welcome back to our channel The Tuition Center. Stay at home and be safe. That's the biggest thing you can contribute to the nation right now. So today's topic would be uh, how can we output our animations. So and technically, if you see anything which you output from your software, it can be any software, it's known as rendering. So what does rendering actually do? Rendering compiles all your animation layers, music, solid layer, imported layer, footage into one format. You have the freedom to choose different type of codec, different type of formats when you render files. So today we will open our project which we have created yesterday, and we will see how to output our files, or how to render our animation. So let's go to file, open, and let's open. So now here you can see our animation is here. Let's Yes. So this is where we have left our animation yesterday. Hope you have tried to make something similar, or something using the same methods: composition, positioning, scaling, and masking. So let's see. This I have added, as you know. I have taken one solid layer and then created one text layer. Post that, I have also taken one more solid layer and then created the text layer. So this is our animation. So you must have created something, so you can see yours. So we let's where does where is the render thing? Okay, now to output the thing, or to render your animation, we need to press command shift and question mark, or control shift and question mark on the keyboard. So once you so let's delete all the things. Let's again go to our composition and let's again press. So when you press command shift and question mark, you will get one more window in front of you which says render queue. So render queue, as it denotes, you can queue x number of render at one given particular time. So so for example, if there are different composition and you need the output of all the compositions separately, you can go to that particular composition and press command shift question mark, and it will automatically come in queue in this render window. Plus also, you can have different settings for different rendering for different composition which you have brought in the render box. You don't need to follow, or you don't or it's not compulsory to have same settings for all the renders which are in queue in your render box. So let's see what all we can see while this window is open. So first thing we can see: current render, time, estimated remaining time, queue, stop, pause, render. Here you can see your composition have come with the composition name. If you see, it says pre-com 3. So likewise here you can see pre-com 3. Then you can see best settings, lossless, error only, and the output name of your file. So now let's click on best settings. So once you click on best settings, you can see in which mode you want your render to be. Do you want in best, do you want in draft, or in wireframe? Generally we don't use wireframes. What should be the resolution of your render? Size, it takes default size of your composition, so you can't edit this. Sketchy, read only. Time sampling you can't see. Frame binding. Fields, we will talk about fields in the next chapter because we have missed these things. Motion blur should be on or off. Time span, proxy, effects, do you want the effects to be rendered or not? Switches, do you want it on or off? Guidelines area, color depth. So current setting means the project settings, so on. So let's you can also edit your in point and out point of the rendering thing and press OK. One thing we have forgotten to tell you, let's go to the composition window again. So here you can see this blue button type thing, and in the out point also you can see this blue button. So what does this mean? This means the things which would be in this particular area will only get rendered. Anything which is outside these areas will not get rendered. So for example, if you see here, your point starts with the 0 and it goes to around 40, and if I want my render to only complete till 35 seconds, go to that particular time frame and press N on your keyboard. N is the shortcut for outpoint of your timeline, the output which you need in your render. So let's go again by clicking on render queue window. Let's click here. Click on output mode. So in output mode you can see different type of settings. So it's AIFF screen sequence, IFF sequence, JPEG sequence, MP3, Open EXR sequence, PNG sequence, Photoshop sequence, QuickTime in which we would be rendering right now, and it's the well-known format for video. Radiance sequence, SGI sequence, TIFF sequence, Targa sequence, and Wave. Below that you can see what action do you need once the render is completed. Here you can see different channels. So do you need rendering in RGB or alpha or RGB plus alpha? What should be the depth? Colors. In format option you can see different type of codec which you can use with your output rendered file. So here you can see animation, Apple ProRes 422, Apple ProRes 422 HQ, Apple ProRes 422 LT, Apple ProRes 422 Proxy, Apple ProRes 4444, and so on. So there are different type of output format which you can use. So let's see what are the changes or what are the options which go hidden when we click Apple ProRes 422. Let's click on OK. So now here you can only see RGB and alpha. RGB plus alpha is not there. So always remember, when you need your output in RGB plus alpha, you need to select animation in compressor format. If you don't select animation in your compressor format, you can't output your file in RGB plus alpha. So what is What is alpha? So alpha, when you render anything in alpha, it vanishes your background. So for example, if you see right now we have put in navy blue color in the background. Now what if we want our background to be transparent while outputting the files, so that we can put our animation on any background which we like to. So now if you want our background to be transparent with zero transparency, we need to output our file in alpha channels, and we need to use compressor, which is animation. Any compressor apart from animation will not give you the output which says RGB plus alpha. Also, thing to remember here is there should not be any solid layer in the background while you are outputting your file in any alpha channels, because if you put any solid layer in the background, you will not be able to get the result which you are expecting, because when rendering the thing, it will read your solid layer as an object which is full in size of your screen. So do remember, while outputting there should be no solid layer in the background which covers your entire area. So again, so right now we don't need alpha, so we will go with the compressor which says Apple ProRes 422 LT, and we will select channel RGB. There is no audio in it, so we will off the audio file and press OK. Then it says, where do you want your output to be saved? So make it an habit to create a file or a folder which says render, so that whenever you want to check your output files, you can simply go into render folder and you can see your files. Let's name it first output and click save. So now we are good to render our first animation project. So to do that, click on render. Now you can see the preview of your render, and if you don't want, or if you don't want your client to see the preview of your render, you can simply click on cap locks. So once you click on cap locks, the preview of your render would stop, but the rendering process will not stop. And if you again click on cap, the preview of your rendering process will start. So this blue bar denotes that the render is in progress, and once it comes to the end, you will if the speakers are on, you can hear a sound of string which says that your render is completed. Now let's go to file, render, and double click on our first output. So this is our first render file which we have created. So click on spacebar and let's see. So hope you guys are happy with the animation. It's our first animation output file. Plus, if you can see, the output says .mov. So MOV file can't be shared on WhatsApp. So you need to use an external software to convert this file into MPEG or MPEG-4, which is easily acceptable by WhatsApp. So hope you are happy with the output of the animation. Feel free to ask anything if you want. So this is how basically you create your output, you create your animation. So now let's put music to it. So if you can see, I have imported one layer, music layer. So you can import any music the way we have imported files. So there are no separate rules to import your music files. So once you take your music file to your timeline, there would be different options which go hidden, and there would be different options which are activated. So for example, you can see this music icon have been activated in front of your sound layer. Plus modes, parenting, these all options have gone vanished because you don't need them. The music icon behaves just like the eye icon to on and off music. So once you click on this icon, you can see the layers have vanished. Now how do you see the layers? First question you should they should come in your mind. So when you import the music file, it looks like the way it's looking right now. Now to see the waveform of your music layers, you need to double press L button on your keyboard. So when you double press L button on your keyboard, the waveform of that selected music file which is imported in your timeline will get open, and you can see the waveform of that particular file. Now when you play it, you can listen the music. So what is this marker for which says 1? You can see this marker. So how is it created? Now there are two ways to create it. Here you can see in the side there is a button in the shape of marker. And click and drag it. So it will take the auto numbers. Now what are the use of these markers? What do you think? Markers are basically to mark anything which you need to remember, right? Now we have taken around 9 markers. So how do we toggle between different markers? Because if we need to drag your cursor to marker 8, then it will be of no use because we can always go to that particular seconds by dragging our cursor. Now the shortcut to toggle between different markers is basically you can press the numbers on your keyboard and you can go to that particular number marker. For example, if you want to go to the marker number 9, you can press 9 and you will go to that marker number 9. Similarly, you can press any number which is written on the marker and you can go to that particular marker and see why have you put that marker, what was the reminder or what was the thing which you need to see that you have put that marker on that particular thing. Now if you want to remove the marker, you can drag your marker out, 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 out. So now let's output our file with music on it. So again press the same shortcut which says command shift question mark. The render queue window will open. You can click on the settings. You can change the settings to Apple ProRes 42. You can see here the audio setting which says off, auto or on. Let's on the settings. You can change the output of your audio settings if you want to in different gigahertz, different beds and all. Click OK. Let's name it first output with music. Save it and press enter. So now you can see the render is in progress, and hope we will listen music when we play it. The time of rendering depends on the amount of animation or effects or layers you have used in that particular project. Don't be afraid if your render time takes more time than me, because you might have used more effects and more layers in your project. Now let's listen whether we have got the output of the music now. And yes, we have succeeded in outputting the file of our first animation with music. So hope you are listening to the music in your animation. Hooray! Right? So that's it for today. So what all we have learned today? We have learned how to open your existing project, how to take your composition to the render queue window and how to open the render queue window, what should be the settings of your outputting file, what should be setting of the output if you need alpha channels along with the RGB, and what should be the compressor of that output, how to put audio file in, how to import audio file and how to put audio file on your timeline, how to render your animation with the audio files in it. That's it. So hope you have enjoyed the class. The class was shorter today as I don't want to mix two different things or two different topics in one class. So hope you enjoyed it. Let's meet tomorrow at the same time with new topic, and feel free to ask any question if you have in mind. So instead of going tool by tool, we would be creating different type of projects so that it's easy for you to learn. While working on project and while facing problems, it get easier to learn than the literature part. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching it. Be safe, stay at home. Do subscribe and like our channel, the Tuition Center. The file we are loading on different social medium with the hashtag share your knowledge. So I am doing my bit. You can do your bit by sharing your knowledge with hashtag share your knowledge. Thank you and bye. Good night.